Okay, so get ready because today we are diving into something really different. Modcast. And yeah, before you even ask, it's a fictional podcast about a fictional character, Maud Flanders from The Simpsons. And from what I'm seeing here with your notes and transcripts, even some fan art, this is way more than just a little fan project.
Yeah.
You've like stumbled onto something truly fascinating.
It really is incredible.
Yeah.
Someone took like the most normal part of a sitcom and found an entire universe underneath it. The creativity is honestly remarkable. There's a whole new layer of fiction about a character nobody really knows that well.
Right. I mean, Maud Flanders, she's not exactly known for being a wild one, but Modcast is obsessed with it, like finding all these conspiracies and hidden meanings in her life. And they constantly mention this Maud Flanders Internet Museum, theme park, database, or as they call it, MFIMDB.
Yeah, and that's where the meta-commentary comes in, too. It's not just about Maud herself. It's about how we interact with these fictional worlds. You know, going deeper, looking for meaning, even in the most boring parts. Even the way they use those phrases like affordable, economical, stingy, with the double slashes. It feels intentional. Like they're playing with us, almost making fun of how academic language works.
And then you have those postcards from this Jacques-le-Stylo Derrida character. Every time he pops up in a different place, it's another piece of the puzzle.
Even that name, Jacques-le-Stylo Derrida, it has to be a reference to Jacques Derrida, right? The philosopher. It's like they're winking at us saying, hey, there's some serious thinking behind this silly idea.
Yeah.
So we've got this entire mythology around Maud with all these mysteries and potential conspiracies. But let's actually get into the content of Modcast itself. We see these little snippets of her childhood, a rivalry with her sister, Lori, even a grandmother who makes wind chimes. Then there's this whole thing about colds that keeps popping up.
That's where it gets really interesting. Are they talking about literal colds or is it symbolic? Is there something darker underneath Maud's normal life? It keeps you guessing, looking for answers.
And if you're looking for answers, episode 62 is key. It goes deep into Maud's personality using really weirdly specific details. Like, it describes her as having unshakable and rewarded faith and being confused by ethnic cuisine, even fish and chips. They even call her Blueling Maud Godman's cast.
That's the brilliance of it, though. The humor, it's not really about making fun of Maud. It's more about how ridiculous it is to analyze a fake person with this much detail. It's satire at its best.
And just when you think you're getting it, episode 58 throws a total curveball. It ends with Maud at a crime scene. The last line is Maud's first corpse. I asked, do we think this is the first? It's the first time we've seen her with a live corpse, is it?
Such a good cliffhanger. It completely changes the mood. Suddenly there's this darkness that wasn't there before. Makes you wonder about Modcast and the people who made it.
And that's just the start. We haven't even touched on the bigger conspiracy theory that comes up later. The one with a mysterious bad guy and a salt circle around everything. But we'll dive into that right after the break. Back again, going even deeper into Modcast. It's strange. Every time we find a clue, it feels like we're left with even more questions.
It's like a puzzle, but every time you put a piece in, a couple more appear out of nowhere.
That's a perfect way to put it. And speaking of puzzling, we need to talk about Xenakis, the supposed villain that shows up later in your Modcast files, this creator who hates podcasts. What a weird idea.
And definitely a bold choice, right?
Yeah.
The name itself, creator, it's like they mashed up creation and destruction. Like it's this force that does both at the same time. Maybe a comment on how much stuff is out there, how easy it is to get lost in it all.
Oh, interesting. What if it's about fandom itself? Sometimes the line between creating and destroying gets blurry when you're really into something fictional.
Exactly. And the fact that he specifically goes after podcasts adds another level to it. Maybe the creators are making fun of themselves a little, since this is a podcast too. Or maybe it's saying even something as small as a podcast could be seen as dangerous by someone or something.
And then there's that whole salt circle thing. Not only is it part of the fight against Xenakis, but they say it holds the whole Modcast universe, even the listeners. What do you think that's all about?
Salt circles are super symbolic. Historically, culturally, they mean a lot. Usually it's about protection, keeping things pure, even making a space sacred. Maybe in the Modcast world, this circle is what separates the normal from the extraordinary.
I like that. It's like stepping into Modcast means you're in a whole different reality with its own set of rules, its own danger.
And don't forget all the names they throw in there, connected to the Salt Circle. Nathan Vonnegut, Dave Jagger, Space Jesus 2. It's wild pulling from all these different places. Pop culture, literature, even religion.
It's almost too much, It's like we're trying to fit everything and everyone into this Modcast world.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe they're showing how everything is connected somehow. How things that seem totally random can actually come together in ways you'd never expect.
Which brings us back to the biggest question. Where does Maud Flanders fit into all of this? We've got this seemingly average housewife thrown into a story with cryptic messages, universe-level fights, and these really strange villains. Does her character change with it all? Or does she challenge everything we think we know? That's what we'll be getting into right after this quick break. And we are back. It's kind of wild when you think about it. Modcast takes this character, Maud Flanders, who's all about being normal, and uses her to explore some seriously big ideas.
It really is something else. It shows you that you should always look deeper. You can find the extraordinary in the most ordinary thing. And that's not just in what Modcast is about, but in how it gets the audience involved, too.
Thinking about all the fan art you've got here, we haven't even mentioned that image of Maud as Jeanne the Swan from Gatchaman. That's such a cool contrast, this sweet, innocent housewife turned into this powerful, kind of dangerous character.
Exactly. It shows how fans can change things. Fans aren't just sitting back and watching. They're taking the stories they love and making them their own, giving them new meaning.
Makes you wonder, is that what Modcast is really about? Giving its listeners the power to jump into the story themselves. All those mysterious clues, the weird humor, how it mixes up what's real and what's not. It's like they're saying, don't just listen, think about it, pick it apart, come up with your own ideas.
Especially with that phrase they use, spectral speculations. It's not really about ghosts or anything. It's about questioning what's real, realizing that there might be way more to every story, every person, than we see at first.
It's like they're saying it's okay to not have all the answers. And we see that in Maud's journey throughout Modcast. She starts as this pretty simple character, but as you listen, you start to see these flashes of something more, something hidden underneath.
Right. And that might be the whole point of Modcast. That even in the most unexpected places, even in the most normal-seeming people, there's always the possibility of something deeper, something amazing.
It's a really powerful message, and they deliver it with this unique mix of humor and smarts. We've laughed, we've thought about some deep stuff, we've even questioned reality itself, all through this fictional podcast about Maud Flanders, of all things.
It just shows you that great stories can pop up anywhere, and that sometimes the most exciting journeys were the ones that take you down the rabbit hole into the unknown.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to our listener out there who brought us this crazy mystery, we'll leave you with this. Keep searching, keep asking questions, and don't underestimate a good story no matter how weird it seems. This has been The Deep Dive, signing off.